Good morning. It is a beautiful fall morning. We are officially in fall now, about to head into September. This Saturday will be the very first day of October. We're already in September. So today I wanted to show you how to know if your winter squash is ready to pick. Now I have one in my arms from last year, and I have one that I accidentally picked from this year. Let's go ahead and look at this one. This is a spaghetti squash from last year. I did not get very many of these. I think this might have been the only one I got because of the bugs and everything last year. I just haven't quite got a handle on those squash bugs, and they really like those plants. But this one is from last year, and it is still good because it is a winter squash, and they are great for storing over winter. Now this one is an acorn squash. This is the one that I actually accidentally picked the other day, and I don't think it's ready. I'm gonna cut it open and see just because, but I just don't think it is. Or I'm gonna use it as decoration because it's a cute little squash. So let me show you how I tell these two, and then we'll go in the garden and we'll look at the others. All right, I set you down right here by my greenhouse, and I'm going to show you this. So this is the spaghetti squash from last year. So one of the ways you can tell is take your thumbnail or fingernail and you push on it. And I don't know if you can see that, but you push on it, and it makes a little dent maybe, but it doesn't actually go through the skin. If it doesn't go through the skin, you're good. Now if it does go through a little bit, you're all right. It'll kind of like heal over itself. Because you want to check these on the vine. Now this one I already checked, and it accidentally come off. But if you look, maybe if my poor thumbnails, like this one right here, it went through. Like if it goes through that, it's not hard yet, so it's not hardened. Now these I planted late, so I don't know if they're actually going to harden before it's time, like before frost gets here. Because our first frost is just over a couple of weeks away usually. So we're gonna go see, but let's go, so we'll see what happens. But let's go to the garden and let's see how many we have, and let's test some and see if I can test them without pulling them off the vine. All right, so right here, I have acorn squash and I have butternut squash planted. Now, the butternut squash is actually kind of bigger than what I thought it would get. Can you see it in there maybe? But it is still green. Let's try this again. So this one down in here, this is the butternut squash. I think it's the only one on the vine. And I don't think it is going to be ready in time. It's not going to have enough time to kind of orange up and harden. Now if we go around here, you're going to see that I have one little acorn squash there. I have one really small one behind this leaf. And then there is another one right here. So I tried something new this year, just starting seeds. These did start earlier. I did start these earlier, but they didn't really take. And so I started them later. So these were started in July. I believe it's July the 23rd is what my tag says. So I didn't get very many, of course, because we're so late in the season. But I just wanted to give it a try. They had already started, so I wanted to plant them. Just like I have sugar pumpkins. I have one plant that came up and it hasn't been planted in the ground yet. And I'm gonna put it out and gonna see how it works, but I really don't see it doing anything because we're already almost in October. So unless I can somehow cover it up, I don't really know. We're gonna wait and see. I still have the caterpillar tunnel I could do. It doesn't have the plastic on it yet. Another video for that one. But let's go ahead and see, because we're supposed to be checking these. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this one-handed or not, but we're gonna see if I can do this without knocking another off the vine. So we do have this one, and the other one was right above this one. This is pretty good size for an acorn squash, I guess. But see if my nail, and it does pierce that. So this one is not ready. So we're just gonna leave it alone and let it harden up some more. I'm not gonna check the other two little bitty ones on the vine because I'm just gonna say that they're probably not ready either. I accidentally picked the other one the other day and it wasn't ready. So I've had a few days. The weather is not like at night. I mean, we're in the 40s of a morning when I go out to milk. So it is getting up into the high 70s, and I think we're gonna have some 80s before it really gets cooler. But I don't know if these are gonna have time to harden up or not. But it was worth a try. So you never know unless you try something new. Now I do have a bed next to this where all of the cucumbers have died off. I guess this cooler weather, they've just had enough and they're done. So that's gonna be pulled out of there as well. But let's just talk about these marigolds. I have such luck. I don't know. I guess the marigolds really like me or something. Not really sure. But this one was one plant. One little plant. I moved and I put it in here and it has gone crazy. Now I saved my marigold seeds, so if you don't save it, you're missing out, because you know, sometimes I wonder if that's why it grows so well, because this is seed that I saved off of marigolds that I got last year. So I started seeds, I don't know, probably a couple years ago I bought seeds for marigolds. I don't really have to do that anymore unless I want a different color or variety, because these come up so well and they just, I mean, they spread. That's one plant. It just gets huge, takes over half the bed. I don't really like that, but it has kept the weeds down. While we're out here, we'll just do a really quick update. So these are, this bed and this bed, I believe, are my tomato sucker starts. So as you can see, these are as tall as I am. These are doing really well. Well, I mean, they're growing green really well. They do have tomatoes on them, but I haven't got any red ones off of there yet. So we'll see how well they do, but it's a good, I'm glad I guess it's a good information to know. Now I know that instead of starting a bunch or starting extra seeds, I can just take suckers off of my plants that are growing in early summer and I can plant them and have more tomatoes. I was walking by and I was looking, I thought, well, these kind of look like maybe more of a Roma variety, and then these over here look more cherry, because there's a bunch of them, like a little tomatoes on each, either cherry or grape tomatoes, not really sure. And more marigolds. Literally, that is one plant over there. And then this is one. This one was scrawny, really bad, and it has just really came out. Now there are tomatoes in here as well, and here and here, these were, I think these were actually ones I started from seed late, and so they're probably not going to do anything. But it's good information to know. This was a volunteer plant that came up in my asparagus bed. Now you can't probably really tell, but like it was on this end of the bed. So you have this end of this bed here. There's one right there. So this tomato plant came up. It has literally came out right here. That is it all right there in between those beds. And it has also went up on the trellis. It is going everywhere. Now this one is, let's see, whatever these are, these little tomatoes. And it's hard to walk over here and not step on them. So these are the ones that I'm getting off of here, and I've just been taking these and I get a bunch of them, wash them off and freeze them, and then I can can these, but they are like little marbles. But I can can these whole if I wanted to, or I can run them through my juicer, which is what I usually do. I know I keep talking about marigolds, but yep, another one. I mean, they just, like, they're literally growing up in there. Over on this side too. This one was kind of small, and they just fight for that sun, but how pretty is that? And them coming up in my tomatoes. I came over here looking at the come over here looking at the cucumber vines, and I mean, evidently the chickens found that one, but this one is going to the chickens. I have plenty of cucumbers. Wow, that's really not wanting to come off of there. Golly. So I'm just gonna pick this over. Like, there's another one down in there, a bigger one, and I'm gonna pick this over. I'm just going to pick it over, take it to the chickens that are in the coop because the dog likes those, so they can't go anywhere other than the coop right now, and working on a new situation for them. But I'm going to take whatever is in here, break these open, and give them to the chickens. I see a couple more or so on these vines, which is kind of crazy because they're dying off. All right, I've got to head in because I have to leave, but I'm going to take my small bounty that I have, a few tomatoes, going to take my squash back in and put all that up and then head out. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe it helped you out a little bit. I know I had lots of questions, still do when I'm gardening, but I love to experiment. I love to try new things, so don't forget to do that. Make sure you experiment, try new things, try to grow new things. Try to push the limits a little bit on how far you could grow into the season or how early, and let me know how it works out for you. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to be lovely lights today.